Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Premier League review on World of Sport TV. This could get messy because my camera's playing tricks on me already. But I've got Joel and Richard in the background waiting to come on to talk about the Premier League action from the weekend. Billy's also going to make an appearance when he can, but this is the Premier League review. What a great start. How is everyone?
Yeah, not bad. How are you? You all right, mate?
Yeah, very, very good, mate. Richard?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've just about recovered from the weekend. Heavy one at Palace, but yeah, it was. I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Amazing work. What was the atmosphere like down there?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, it was a hell of a trip down there. I ended up having to go down on the Friday night in the end because of the storm, and it was a good job because our train would have been cancelled had we. Well, our train was cancelled had we decided to wait till the Saturday morning. So, yeah, managed to stay at a friend's house in Peterborough. Travel down to London on the Saturday morning, and then great atmosphere. You know, away days are always great, and especially when you win. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing, mate. That's amazing. I mean, especially seeing the 3 points as well. Yeah, and then a couple of beers to celebrate afterwards.
Yeah, a few. Yeah. Yeah, back into Newcastle at midnight it was on the Saturday night, and then had to crown off the night with a couple of beers in Newcastle. So.
That is a long way to go down. And fair play for skipping the disruption, because that must have been like a right headache during the course of the week, seeing what was.
Oh well,
it was literally a last minute decision as well, because the day on the Friday in Newcastle, like up until about 3-4 o'clock was fine, but then all of a sudden it just switched, and then it was just the wind was getting stronger and stronger, the rain was getting worse and worse, and then we were just like, let's see if we can get a ticket down tonight. So yeah, we managed to sort it out, because I know a lot of Newcastle fans didn't actually make it down on the Saturday morning to Arsenal because of the cancellations. So yeah, it was tough for them.
It got down late as well. Most of them. 12:40 was the earliest time they could get in. This camera. It's going to do my head in all night. But that's the first game we're going to talk about, because it was the Saturday morning kickoff between Arsenal and Newcastle. Obviously, it finished Arsenal 2, Newcastle 0. Saka opened the scoring, and Martinelli finished it off with a beautiful finish. I watched the game myself. Got a little bit drunk during it, so I can't remember too much of it. I know Saka's goal was quite good. Bit of poor defending down the left-hand side for him to get in. And then the second goal, it's a great finish. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a fantastic finish over the keeper. But our defensive line, it was shocking. You know, everyone was playing them on side, when if they've actually had an actual back four line, straight line, it would never have happened. But they were sitting that deep on an angle, like, you know, it's hard to do it with a camera. But the angle was terrible. And I just thought, you know, this is where our problem lies, trying to win games in the future, because if we defend like that all the time, we're going to be in big trouble. I mean, Arsenal were worth the win in the second half. I thought we troubled them a little bit in the first half, but a fair result in the end, really. And at least it wasn't a cricket score, is what some of us are saying.
But I mean, you had chances. I mean, Shelvey came close, and I mean, you did look like. I mean, since Howe's come in, and I mean, Bruce has gone, you look like a team that can cause other teams' problems. I mean, Joel Linton's somehow just turned into a decent.
World beater, hasn't he?
I know. Where's that come from?
Where's it been for the last 2 and a bit years? That's what I don't get.
It's a bit of confidence, isn't it? But I actually, as well, I think, having watched the highlights, I think you were fairly unlucky not to get a penalty, you know, with Wilson.
Which ones? This is a good ones to talk about, because I personally don't think the Wilson one was a penalty.
When the long ball over the top and he was chasing it, and was it Tavares?
Yeah, it was a little tiny nudge.
He lent it, like I've seen them given, you know, because I don't think he went he was clever in the way he did it because he had his hands behind his back, but his shoulder was like in his back. And I think, you know what, he knew what he was doing there. I mean, sometimes you can call it a bit of smart defending, but I wouldn't have been surprised if a penalty had been given there. And I think maybe you could count yourself slightly unlucky with that.
Yeah. And I mean, there was a bit of luck down Tavares' side. I mean, he looks quite raw as I mean, I know he's young and he's just come over from Portugal, but I mean, he's doing something to keep Tierney out the side. But there was always a little bit of any of the Arsenal back line. He was the one that if you were going to get through, it'd be on his side.
Yeah, definitely. What about the Shaw incident in the penalty area? It looked like he got wrestled to the ground at that corner.
Yeah, I thought that was more penalty than the
one.
Wilson one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I thought when I saw that match today, I don't know how that wasn't given because he was literally dragged to the floor.
Yeah. The only reason why I don't think it was given, he was just nowhere near the ball. But is that a rule these days? Nobody really knows, do they? If you're nowhere near the ball and you get fouled, is it still a foul and a penalty? Or do you have to be involved in or do you have to be involved in play when you're wrestled to the ground? It's all a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, it all depends. But no, I think it was one of them where you look at it at 2-0, fairly comfortable, and maybe it was like that, throughout the 90 minutes. But I think there was definitely shoots of recovery for Newcastle to build on.
Yeah, welcome, Billy.
Hello, mate.
But again, if you give the Wilson penalty, you've got to give the penalty to Arsenal as well, haven't you? Because Lascelles went right through someone in the penalty box. It's a similar sort of angle, but with a bit more force, and they didn't give that one. So I guess you could say consistency worked on the day because neither was given, and that's what you want to see. So there was a little bit of consistency. So yeah, I mean the stats don't look very pretty for Newcastle, to be fair, but a lot prettier than what they normally do. 24 shots off target, 6 on target for Arsenal, so 30 attempts in the game. I'm surprised they only scored 2 in the end. 66% of possession to our 34, which normally that would be about 15 if it was under the previous management. But we did have 9 shots off target and 5 on target, which is a bonus for us because that's stats we've never seen all season, really.
No.
And normally we only string about 200 passes together and we got 328. So obviously Arsenal strung 646 though. So it sort of tells you how the game went, doesn't it? So, but yeah, worthy winners Arsenal in the end. We did give it a bit of a go in the first half, but the second half their class just shone through. So we move on to tonight, fingers crossed. Which what we'll do is if we've got enough time, we're going to predict all the results tonight as well. So
okay.
Fingers crossed. Let's move on to the next game. So, Richard, obviously you.
One sec, Baz. Football news coming through. Obviously, today we had John Sillett pass away, the last West Midlands manager to win the FA Cup, 1987, and now even has bad news. Ray Kennedy's passed away.
Oh,
fantastic player. Geordie Mann played for excelled for Arsenal and Liverpool. He's been ill for quite some time. I think he had multiple sclerosis or something like that. He had. He's confined to a wheelchair. Check that out.
Sad news.
Yeah, real sad news. Parkinson's disease. Yeah, Parkinson's. He's had it for years. A fantastic player in my youth. So yeah, Ray Kennedy, RIP, and John Sillett, RIP too. And that's the reason why I'm late actually, because there's quite a few people at the Rico laying flowers and stuff. So.
Oh, that's nice of them. There's a happy Gooner on the screen as well. Get off. Right. So, Richard, Villa, obviously look quite comfortable. 2-1 winners. A rare goal by Taggart, a very rare goal, but a good goal. McGinn's was a brilliant finish. And then obviously Palace pulled one back, but obviously far too late. Steven Gerrard working miracles. Talk me through your day. Obviously, we heard a little bit about it, but let's hear about the game.
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, with Brighton, the first game of Steven Gerrard's reign, they hadn't lost away from home all season, and then we beat them, and then Crystal Palace hadn't lost at Selhurst Park all season, and then Stevie G's Claret and Blue Army roll into town and do them over. But yeah, it was a good performance, particularly the first half. Went with slightly surprised with. Now we found out he's injured, but Danny Ings didn't start. We didn't know that before the game that he had a bit of an injury or illness. So he went with Ashley Young, Ollie Watkins, and Leon Bailey as the front three.
Seemed to work quite well, that.
And it really did. It really did. And what is changed slightly is the three forwards are quite close together up front. And then the three midfielders, they pull out wide to whatever side they are. So Ramsey will go out wide, and he was looking after Elise, and then McGinn would go out wide before they got to the fullbacks, and he would go out to Zaha. So what that allowed is for pressure to get on them quicker. But it meant if we picked up the ball, then there'd be more players in the middle to be able to, to work the ball better. And it meant that Nakamba, when he was winning the ball, had players to pass it to, which has been one of the criticisms with Dean Smith, is all our midfielders were always too far apart from each other. And Nakamba was absolutely incredible. He had a great game, just winning everything, just giving it nice and simple and just allowing us to play. And obviously, Target got the goal in the first half from a set piece. And to be honest, other than a Wilf Zaha chance right at the start, Crystal Palace didn't really threaten. And Villa probably would have been justified going in, maybe even more than 1-0 up. Second half was a little bit different, a bit more of a kind of typical away performance, allowing Crystal Palace to have possession. But again, it was probing, but not really troubling us. Benteke had a shot that was comfortably saved, and I think Edouard, who came on, he had a chance, but I think Palace fans thought he should have done a lot better with it. And then, as you say, Baz, fantastic goal. Two subs linking up. El Ghazi and Buendia, who was great when he came on again, linking up, and then McGinn puts it away from the edge of the box, top corner, and away fans go crazy, and that's what you want. 85 minutes gone, and you win 2-0. That's it, game over. So, we conceded right at the end, which I'm sure Emi Martinez wouldn't be happy about. But fantastic win, and 2 wins on the bounce, particularly with Man City coming up tomorrow, which is going to be a hell of a game. So we needed that win.
Yeah, there was the free kick as well, wasn't there, when Milivojevic brung down. There was a covering defender, because you were all looking for a red card at one point, weren't you? But there was a covering defender.
I don't think it was a red, that one. But Ashley Young had a good attempt, and then obviously we had Douglas Luiz, who was sent off, and then it got reviewed by the VAR. Yes. The referee got.
I want to comment about that. I mean, he didn't touch him. No. So quite rightly, they took the red down to a yellow for intent. Where was the yellow card for Chiati?
For faking injury. Yeah,
true. Yeah, that's a good point, that one.
Yeah, if you're going to follow it through, you got Chiati rolling around like he's just been shot. And
I mean, being in the stands, we couldn't really see. Like, we were looking at it, and it looked like he'd gone through him. So we were kind of cursing Luiz for being so stupid after 5-10 minutes after coming on. And I think the ref maybe
just missed him.
Yeah. I think the ref kind of got really, sort of carried away with the moment and stuff, with the atmosphere. Yeah, it was his first game in the Premier League. And we had this conversation on the podcast episode last night, and maybe I said, if it had been a more experienced referee who would have brandished the red card, would VAR have felt so confident as to tell him to go back to the screen? But then the lads made a good comment in that if it was a more experienced referee, he probably would have given himself a few seconds to assess the situation a little bit more. So it's one of those. I mean, we got away with it, but it was the right decision, like you say, Billy.
Yeah. I mean, the intent was there, but he missed them. So, I mean,
he got booked for the intent, but it looked real at first viewing. Yeah. So, I mean, the VAR worked, but having done that, then he should have gone to Chiati. He was rolling around looking at his leg chopped off by, I don't know, spindly swordfish or something. I don't know. But honestly, it was really, really laying on, and it looked a bad one. Yeah. But when he didn't make contact, then he should have yellow carded for simulating. Definitely.
There was a situation in the second half as well with Zaha when he got nailed, and the referee blew his whistle far too quickly because Gallagher was running through on goal, wasn't he? It was 2-on-2, and it was just like, again, you mentioned about the referee's first game, bit too whistle happy. Should have let it run on for maybe 5 seconds and then brought it back, which was a bit of a shame for them. But it was quite an entertaining back and forth game, but even the stats don't really suggest it, which is a bit weird. So if we look at it, there was only really 8 shots off target for Palace and 3 on target, and 10 shots off target for Villa and 3 on target. So you obviously were a lot more, 75% of your efforts went in, which is good. just need a bit more efforts.
Yeah. It was more like like a basketball game in that it was end to end, but both defenses kind of, were the last line, and they kind of fought them off, so to speak. But it was a good game. It was a cracking atmosphere as well, and two legends going head to head in Gerrard and Vieira, and that kind of added to it, I think.
Yeah.
You can already see the influence Gerrard's had. I mean, Bailey looks a different player already, doesn't he?
He does.
Leon Bailey looks a different player. Leon Bailey looks a completely different player already.
Yeah, there's a few. Bailey does. Target. Cash had he's had a good season, Cash, but he's had 2 good games. Tyrone Mings has just been like a mountain at the back.
Yeah.
And then you've got McGinn and Nakamba. Honestly, he was like a different player. He was just like prime N'Golo Kante on Saturday. So, long may it continue. The only one who I've been a little bit disappointing with, and I know he scored a cracking goal against Brighton, but it would be Ollie Watkins. I think he needs to hold the ball up a little bit more. It was kind of, it was great one touch play into him, and then it was getting to him, and it was a lot of the time sort of we were losing momentum. So he either needs to decide to run with it, or he needs to decide to play the one touch stuff. But I can see Emi Buendia really getting into this team once he gets settled, because that's what he's all about, 1 and 2 touch passing, and that was what caused the second goal, to be honest.
I'll answer this one really quickly, Truls, because we are talking about the weekend's action, not about tonight's games yet. You're obviously a bit early with your comments, but I think we're going to play well tonight, to be honest with you. We are playing another struggling team, and we played well against Brentford, who was struggling. So I do see us, giving it a good go tonight. I'm not going to say we're going to win, because you just never know, but we should see a good performance tonight, which is what we want to see. Right, apologies in advance. Liverpool 4, Southampton 0. Diego Jota after 2 minutes, and then 32 minutes, and then it was just sealed, wasn't it, in the first half, going 3-0 down, and then Virgil van Dijk wrapped it up with a tidy finish, but keeper probably should have done better in my eyes. But you shot yourselves in the foot, didn't you? I mean, after 2 minutes letting Liverpool score, you're not coming back from that, are you?
No, we did, but I mean, I was never expecting us to go to Anfield and get a result. I mean, Brighton showed that Liverpool can be got at, and they were vulnerable at times. We did have some good chances. Adam Armstrong is proving that, as you guys said, that he might not be that Premier League quality yet, but he's so instinctive. Like, basically, we've got Che Adams 2.0, which is the problem, because we have Che Adams version 1 as well. But it's the problem with the result, and we conceded 4 goals. We got outplayed by a better team, a quality team that can't stop scoring. I think 16 games in a row they've scored more than 2 goals in a game. Which I think is a record for an English team.
Yeah, it's amazing how many goals.
It's incredible, and you saw it in Jota. I mean, he's a phenomenal player, and Liverpool will be leaning on him when Salah and Mane go to the AFCON in January. And not taking anything away from Liverpool, they did what they needed to do. They played their lovely play out wide. The fullbacks were getting involved. They cut us open. The first goal, Ori Romeu just stopped as Andrew Robinson just glided through and played a ball into the box. And I mean, but what you saw there was Ralph changed the system. And I mean, he's getting a lot of flack from Saints fans for this. Why would you play 3 strikers up front against Liverpool with attacking fullbacks? And then not do that against Norwich. Against Norwich,
very good point, isn't it?
We decided to defend and have a lot of Diallo and Romeu and Prowsey on the same pitch.
Is that not the whole let's have a go at Liverpool because we're not going to win and it's a free for all in a way? It's a free shot. Where against Norwich you have to win and he didn't want to lose. Is that not the mindset?
Yeah, but I completely agree. But the only problem is we went and lost against Norwich, which then throws that plan completely out the window. And I mean, he set up. He played Lianco, who got his first Premier League start. He didn't look great, but I mean, no one's going to look great when you've got that front 3 running at you. We created some good chances. Adam Armstrong should have scored, Armando Broja, and I think that's the problem that Southampton have at the moment. Normally, take away this result, the defence has been quite good. We've been quite strong. We've kept a low number of clean sheets. But it's going forwards. And I mean, Broja's got 2. I think Armstrong's got 2. Adams has got 2 as well. We haven't got an out-and-out goal scorer, but we're just not producing the chances. I mean, we had 10 shots. only 3 of them on target. I mean, it was just frustrating because I mean, Ralph, and he came out and he admitted it. He got it wrong from the off, but he should have changed it after 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, gone, no, this 3 at the back's not working. I mean, you had like Roman Perot just being pulled left, right, and centre at left back, and it just didn't work. I like the idea, go at them, go and attack, but you've also got to realise you're playing against a team in such good form that plays such good attacking football. If you're going to try the new formation, try against Leicester on tomorrow night.
Yeah, that
Leicester, you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, he shot himself in the foot. He came out. He admitted he got it wrong, but the game was over after 37 minutes. When Liverpool went 3-0 up, I had my head in my hands going, not again. I can't see that dreaded number 9 again. I can't.
Luckily, you didn't. Billy, what did you make of the game? I mean, Salah nearly scored a wonder goal again from the right-hand side when he cut inside. How he hasn't won the Ballon d'Or this year, I do not know.
Ridiculous.
It is, isn't it?
It certainly should be Messi, should it? I mean, usually, I'd give it Jorginho winning European Championships and Champions League. Yeah. It'd have been my choice.
Well, after he's touched this weekend, maybe not.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
We'll come to that.
But I mean, Liverpool, them and Manchester City. People keep saying to me about Chelsea. Chelsea don't have the X factor of Man City and Liverpool creatively. They've got something about them, both sides. Chelsea haven't got it. There was one comical moment Saturday where Livramento was faced with the front three Liverpool on his own.
Yeah,
he managed to escape with that.
He did. Listen, what you're seeing there of Livramento, you're seeing an 18-year-old that he's now completely burnt out, and he did really, really well. We've played him every single game, and bless him, he's a really good player. He's probably been our player of the season, I'd say. But he did really well. I would have ran the. I would have just let them pass. That was terrifying. I reckon those 3 running at you.
Yeah. So Liverpool look real good, and the African nations might cost them, and it probably will actually. But they're a great side to watch when they're on top gear, aren't they? They really are.
It all depends on who they're playing in that little period where they're going to be missing those players. I don't think they've got any of the big boys, so they might get away with it. But
don't they have an FA Cup game as well in and around?
Yeah,
there'll be an FA Cup game.
Yeah. They won't be too bothered about, will they?
No.
The stats in that game: so Liverpool 20 shots off target, very wasteful as always. I do find that the top teams when they play against the likes of Newcastle and Southampton that they have a lot of efforts. Yeah. Only 6 on target, which is quite poor for them. Southampton 7 off, 3 on, 65% of the possession to 35, and again, I mean, passed the ball 338 times, which is not bad at Anfield compared to what some teams do.
He's got a good idea going on, but the only problem is we can knock the ball around quite nicely, but we just look so toothless up front. And that will drag us. And that was the problem with Norwich. We dominated against Norwich. We didn't take our chances. We then go and lose 2-1 because McCarthy couldn't save 2 near ball opportunities. It's tricky, but I mean, he's got the midfield playing really, really nicely, but no one's scoring goals. I mean, our top goal scoring midfielder is Mohamed El-Younousi with 1. No, he's the only one to score from open play. Sorry, only one of our midfielders has scored from open play, and our strikers have got 2 each. It's not enough goals, and that will be an issue when we come into the Christmas period. But I mean, obviously, you can't write a season off about losing at Liverpool. But I mean, it's concerning that we've got Leicester and Brighton coming up, and they look really must-win games now.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester looked all right against Watford, which we'll see soon. And Brighton are, creating chances but wasteful. So that brings us quite nicely onto a boring game. Norwich against Wolves finished 0-0. I mean, I don't really know what to make of this game, to be honest with you. There was a couple of decent chances in it, but neither side really looked like they wanted to win the game. And they didn't really go for it, did they? Did you see much of the game, Richard?
No, mate, I can't say I did. I know Pookie missed a chance. But I mean, in terms of generally Norwich, you're talking about 7 points from the last 3 games. For them, it's kind of
huge, isn't it? With your old manager.
Yeah, exactly. It's massive, and they've not conceded many in the last few as well. So they'll be looking at it on a positive note. Wolves are a funny side, aren't they? Like they'll be looking into that game thinking, well, with the attacking football play that we've we've had over the weeks previously, that should be a game where they go out with real confidence and with real sort of attacking flair. But they seem to just be really funny side, and some games where you least expect it, they'll play amazing football, and then other games they just seem to stink the place out and not really do anything.
It is very strange. Max Aaron's had a good chance for Norwich as well. I think he had probably the chance of the game. He was about 6 yards out when the keeper pulled off a good save. Good 1-2 into the box. But other than that, there wasn't really any clear-cut chances, to be honest with you. Wolves had a bit more back possession, 57%. Only had 2 shots on target, though. Norwich, 4 shots on target, 14 off and 5 off for Wolves. So you can see Norwich will look like they were probably trying to win the game more. But Wolves, I don't know, it was just a weird game. Especially it was like a boring 0-0. It really was a boring 0-0.
Yeah, not much happened. Norwich, I think, they've done brilliantly. I mean, they put us to the sword. They played well against us, and they introduced Gilmore and Mashika. Look like they can play off each other quite nicely. It's just the striker situation for them. You're starting 2 strikers, are Timu Puki and Josh Sargent, and it doesn't scream quality.
No, it doesn't. Does it? I mean, Puki can do it in the Championship, but he's not. I mean, he had that little run at the start of the 2-3 seasons ago when they were in the Premier League, where he looked like he was a world beater, but then he just faded away, and then they got relegated. Go on, Richard. Sorry, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say there's a lot of teams like that, isn't there? I mean, you've been talking about Southampton, Joel, where it's like, and I was going to ask you, do you feel like you guys need like a target man, or someone who can bring players into the game up top? And I suppose that's a similar case for Norwich. They need someone who can hold the ball up in the front third, attacking third, just to either A, take the pressure off, or B, bring players into the game, because most of the time they're going to be under pressure, aren't they? And it's just having that player. They don't necessarily need to score the goals, but they'll bring players in that maybe can.
I think Ralph he loves his press, and he loves pressing from the front. So he'd rather have 2 nippy forwards running around, chasing the defenders, pressing them. And then the big problem is that we get the ball, we play it into the box or play it into that final third, and they're too busy on the winger positions. Yeah. And then so you've then got that gap between striker and midfielder. No one's actually where they need to be. I think that's what he wanted to do with Brozier, but then Brozier got injured. And Brozier's he's only 19. He's a 19-year-old loanee from Chelsea. So yeah, there are a lot of teams. If a team has got a strong number 9 striker that can link play up, they're a rare commodity at the moment, because there are so many teams that you could just look at and say, yeah, I mean, Villa, you guys have almost got 2 in the form of Ings and Watkins. Newcastle, you could say of Callum Wilson. Like, actually, to be fair, some of the teams down there, you haven't got that many. Watford, I wouldn't say I've got that kind of striker. No. I mean, Josh
Burnley
King
likes to Chris Wood.
Yeah. But then it's like, exactly.
The other one, Barnes as well. Yeah. Barnes, I've got 2, haven't they?
I can see Ben Brereton getting signed in January, maybe. Blackburn. He's only had half a good season, but if you're talking 17, 18 goals already, he's going to get snapped up.
But again, is he going to be able to do it like Adam Armstrong? Is he going to be able to do it? Exactly. This is the question. It's the risk that you take, I suppose.
Yeah. Some clubs could be in for him with next season in mind, let's say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we could potentially look at that, couldn't we? Because
that's what I meant.
Get it on the pub rumours.
Wake up, Barry. Wake up, Barry. Yeah, the rumour mill. We'll have that one on there.
Yeah.
This brings us on. Let's get the 0-0s out the way. So Brighton 0, Leeds 0. A bit of a different 0-0 this one, though, because Brighton were really going for it. Just very, very wasteful again, weren't they, Billy?
20 shots, 4 on target speaks everything about the game that you need to know. Brighton were fantastic in the first 2 thirds, final third, they were dreadful. They were helped by Leeds having to play Calvin Phillips centre half. How Junior third post there in the pitch, I'll never know. He must have made 30 fouls in the first half. Booked for one of his first 2 or 3, and in the end he was dragged off at half time. But I thought Leeds were dreadful. Honestly did. The keeper was the best player they had, without any shadow of a doubt. And Brighton will be ruined 2 points lost there, because they should have won that game and should have won it quite convincingly. And that's been their kind of pattern the past few weeks, hasn't it? They've been missing chances left, right, and centre. I guess we always knew that would come with the strike force they've got. So they've done really well so far. But they need to maybe invest in a good striker in January and see if they can kind of push up the table a bit.
Can you imagine if they had someone like Ings in the team?
Yeah.
Instead of him going to, I mean, they'd be flying up the league, wouldn't they? If they had a natural goal scorer in the side.
Yeah.
Joel, what do you make of Leeds? Are they going to join us near the bottom and be in this relegation fight all season?
You look at the table and they're 3 points clear of relegation. But I mean, I think that's quite generous for how Leeds have played this season. I mean, I think back now and I can't think of any notable Leeds performances. I mean, I know they've got injury problems and you're looking at, you've got Calvin Phillips at centre back, but I mean, they just look like what happens with Bielsa's teams after 2.5, 3 years. They look burnt out. They look burnt out. They're promoting youth player after youth player onto the bench, and then when you look at the bench, it's just full of kids. And obviously, unless there's something special, they're not going to make much of a mark on the Premier League. Leeds, I think, are in trouble because I mean, there are a lot of teams that are on the up at the bottom end of the table, and Leeds aren't one of them. I mean, they look sluggish going forward. They look slow. They look ponderous on the ball. I mean, if I was a Leeds fan, I would be concerned. Would be really concerned because you don't see where the goals are coming from. They're just relying on Rafinha to pull them out continuously. And I mean, we're waiting for Bamford to come back, but he's going to need 3 or 4 or 5 games to get back into the swing of things. So as far as Leeds, I'd be really, really concerned about just how not only the results, but how they're playing. The performances are they're not great at all. Stinking the place out.
Yeah, Tangy nails it there as well. Brighton struggling to score goals this season. Richard, where do you think Brighton could be if they could score goals? Do you think they could have been a threat to the top 4 this season with the way they're playing? And does Potter deserve the grief he's been getting as well? That was terrible from their fans, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that there was a few boos there. I mean, maybe it was tinged with more frustration than anything, but
you would hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you certainly hope so.
I mean, come on,
exactly. That 8th in the league or something. It's what dreams are made of. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, you could make the argument they would be higher up if they had a natural goal scorer. Maybe it would change the style of their play slightly, and maybe maybe they go for it a little bit more. But like you say, they seem to be creating a lot of chances, so it wouldn't do them any harm. I think in terms of the stick, I mean, I think maybe Potter's using that to his advantage a little bit, and maybe creating a bit of a siege mentality sort of thing with the players, and next game the fans will be behind them and that sort of thing, because they do need to score more goals and they do need to win more games because their possession is telling them that and the chances are telling them that. So he maybe was a little bit frustrated with it, and that's the way he responded, with it, because what did you say? 20 shots and 4 on target. As a coach, you're not going to be happy with that. Like, you'd be tearing strips off in the dressing room, like 100%. You can't accept it. That's unacceptable. So, maybe there was a bit of frustration in him as well with the players that kind of manifested itself in sort of going after the fans a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Tangy brings up a point there about Norwich only scoring 7, but they don't create anywhere near as many chances as Brighton do. So it's sort of the same, but Brighton are on a different level when it comes to missing chances, to be fair. This brings us nicely onto another crowd who were booing the hell out of the players at the end of the game. So Brentford 1, Everton 0. Obviously, it was a dubious penalty decision, but it's not dubious because it was a penalty. But it brings us back to when Sean Longstaff nearly got his head taken off against Brentford and wasn't given, and then this one was given. Was it given because there was contact, and the Newcastle one wasn't given because there wasn't contact, or is both of them should have been a pen? And that was definitely a pen. What do you guys make of it?
Yeah, I think it's pen. I think the way he
up, mate.
Yeah. I mean, he swung at it, loose boot. He just swung at it. Didn't think what he was doing. Did it? And you made the contact. I mean, if that wasn't given, you kind of going, that is quite dangerous play. But I was definitely a penalty. Definitely a penalty.
Five feet with a free kick anyway on the pitch, aren't they? So, I mean, in the box, the free kick, that's a penalty, isn't it? So,
So with Sean Longstaff should have been given, shouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm glad we all agree on that one. Ivan Toney took the penalty as well, tucked it away very, very casually. I don't like seeing strikers doing that. Do you like seeing that, Richard, when a penalty's taken 2 steps?
It's one of those where you look terrible miss, don't you? But he's not. He doesn't seem like a player who struggles for confidence. So he's going to back himself all the way. So it's fine when it goes in, and maybe when he doesn't score one, he might change his tack a little bit. But he's took the Premier League by storm, hasn't he? So he's doing really well. I guess
4 goals now. Is that right? 4 goals.
Yeah, 4 goals.
4 or 5 goals. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just his general play. Like every time I've seen Brentford, I think it was against Wolves. He just dominated them, and
apart.
and I think he played well against you guys last week. So he just seems like he's took to the Premier League like a duck to water. He played well against Villa. He scored against Villa. So he's doing very well. But I guess what surprised me, and I know you'll come to it, but it's just Brentford didn't have to play particularly well to win the game, and that's just really, really, really worrying for Everton.
Well, the stats look very strange. Obviously, with Brentford winning 1-0, and I'll come to them in a second. But obviously, we'll come to the crowd as well. I mean, what the hell was going on with Everton? I mean, Newcastle got slated for hounding Bruce out, apparently, and giving them all this crap from the stands, which we never did. We never did in the stadium, and we never did in away games. I mean, some of the stuff I saw in the cameras and that, it's just unacceptable, really. Did you see any of it, Joel, on Twitter?
Yeah, I saw one of the videos, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if football is gonna make you that angry, then maybe it's not the sport for you. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, it is. I can understand their frustration since Farhad Mashiri's come on. He spent I think spent £500 million on transfers, and they're starting with Alex Iwobi and Salomon Rondon up front. I mean, I'll be annoyed if that was my front two, but I mean, they never wanted Rafa, and he's a good manager. And I know they're on a bad run of form, but to act like that is just appalling. The players have come on over; they're applauding the fans. I mean, if you want to give them a bit of stick, fine, but I mean, it doesn't look good. And I mean, they're trying their best. I mean, Brentford didn't have to play that well, but I mean, Everton are missing key players. Charlton's not playing. Calvert-Lewin's not there. They're missing Doucouré. They're missing the spine of a team. So, I mean, if you're an Everton fan, you kind of got to go, right, we've got the Christmas running coming up. Those players aren't a million miles off. But it was poor behaviour from them. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was ridiculous.
Well, this is it. We're talking about, key players to Everton that are missing. And then you talk about Ivan Toney as well, about being that focal point up front. It's a bit like for Leeds with Bamford. If Bamford's not playing, if you take Toney out of that Brentford team, they'll struggle because he is their focal point. And I spoke to Brentford fans before the game a couple of weeks ago, and they said, if you take him out of our team, we will struggle because everything goes through him. Everton did have a good chance to equalise, though. Rondon did really well. I don't know if you saw it. The ball got played into his left foot. He touched it round the player, and literally a bit like Saka, he probably should have buried it, but the keeper pulled off a good save with his foot. And then you look at Rafa's signings, like you mentioned, Rondon being one of them. I would have loved to have had him back at Newcastle. He was brilliant for us. But he's basement bargain hunting again. And that's because Everton has spent all their money on this new stadium. They might have money, but they haven't got the FFP. So Rafa has been with his hands tied. And when he's lost all these players, he hasn't been able to replace them or add to the squad in depth like he would have liked to. He only spent 2.5 million in the summer, is that right?
And we were raving about those guys at the start of the season.
Exactly. Townsend. And then Rondon coming on as well. I still think Rondon's got a lot to offer. So this, Tanguy, you said it twice, but I wanted to save your message for now. So Rafa, for Director of Football for the two, knows the fans, knows the European market, recognised name over Europe. Perfect for Rafa and perfect for us. I can see this happening. So with the stick that he's getting, I mean, he's not going to last much longer, is he, Billy? No. And that would be the perfect job for him. And if he doesn't want to manage anymore, this is the only thing. He won't be a manager, but he could be a perfect Director of Football for Newcastle.
I don't think Eddie Howe would like it, mind.
Really?
Yeah, you're a manager of the club, and you get a director of football who the fans kind of didn't want to leave. He's a manager, really. He's not a director of football, and he's in there to kind of assist Eddie Howe. It smells a bit of the Liverpool situation, the late Houllier and Evans together. Nah, not for me. It wouldn't be my situation.
Do you know what it is, though? I would love it. And then if Howe could see the benefit of it and just said, Rafa, sort the defence out for us, man, will you? You did it when you were here. We were the 6th best defence in the Premier League with the same players that we've got now. Show me what you did, and you could learn from it. but would Hedi Howe be too much of a bigger head to not? I don't know. But if you've got a likes of Rafa who's won European Cups,
I mean, you'd think it'd be a good
Howe
thing
would
for
want to learn from him, wouldn't you? You would think.
You'd think, but I can see reasons why it wouldn't.
Yeah. So he's been fed to the wall. Yeah, I mean, he took the job because it was his hometown, wasn't it? Really, in a way. I know he's obviously second hometown, I should say, but he wanted to go home. So his family were still living there. You can't blame him, can you?
Yeah.
But again, I'll come to the stats now because it does look very strange. So 6 shots off target, 4 shots on target for Brentford, 14 off target for Everton, 5 shots on target, and they had 61% of the ball as well. So Brentford didn't have to play well to win, but Everton looked like they probably should. I mean, I saw some of the chances they missed. They probably should have nicked a point. And the keeper pulled off a point-blank save, which I don't think he knew much about, from Iwobi, I think it was. And Seamus Coleman swung it in, and it landed at his left foot, and he lashed at it. And the keeper just hit him. He just dropped on it, didn't he? And it was like, that any other day that goes in. And it's a 1-1 draw. So, yeah, Rafa's got a lot to do. Do you see Everton slipping further down into a relegation battle, or do they get the players back and then they start scoring goals again, Richard?
They're lacking creativity in the middle of the park, ain't they? Let's be honest. Right in the centre of the midfield, they've got Decore and Allen. They're both great defensive midfield players, but they're not really creative, are they? No, and that's where they're struggle, I think.
They need that, and if they can get Calvert-Lewin back in fit, and then they can. I know Damari Gray's been in and out with a little injury as well, but if they can get back to that kind of starting 11 that they had, where they can kind of catch teams on the break, but also have Calvert-Lewin with his danger of holding the ball up and in the box, then I think they'll be fine.
He's a huge miss, isn't he?
Yeah. But I mean,
like Bamford, like Tony, that target man.
What I think to his credit, I think Rondon is starting to play a little bit better. He's getting some sort of fitness back, but it just really puzzles me as to why, these teams that want to be pushing for the top, the top 6 don't carry more than 1 or even 2 strikers. Like it just baffles me. Like what if Calvert-Lewin is your main player and then you're relying on Rondon or Iwobi, that's just rank bad planning from not from Rafa necessarily, but from the club. It's just terrible. And the same with Leeds. It's like if
Newcastle as well.
I mean, even if you've got a good, solid Championship like striker who scored a lot of goals, or someone from the Belgian league or something like that, it's just an option. Even someone from the youth side who's the record scorer in the, you always get these stories of strikers who've scored like 60 goals in the youth team. They're not going to do any worse than Iwobi playing up front. Like,
this is true.
Know where the goal is.
Charlton as well, weren't they? He was suspended, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, I don't think they'll be anywhere near where they hope they'd be in terms of challenging for top 6, but I don't think they'll be in any trouble. I think Rafa's too good a manager for that.
Too good a manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
I agree.
You can tell though. You got players like they've traded James Rodriguez for Damari Gray. I mean, there's your creative aspect gone there. I mean, Gray's done well, but I mean, I know Rodriguez didn't really settle, but
there's something off with him, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and it's a real shame they couldn't make it work. And it's a shame, money, and not settling. Yeah. But it's a shame because that is the creative kind of player they need.
Yeah,
really at the moment.
Definitely agree. Right, moving on to the thriller at the King Power Stadium, and the weather really took hold of this game. But Leicester went 1-0 up with Maddison. King with a penalty, which was definitely a pen. And it was nice, coolly slotted away. Vardy got 2 in the snow, and Lookman wrapped it up. Quite again, bit of a ding-dong affair, wasn't it? I mean, you could have put this down as a 2-2 or a 4-4 the way it was going, but Leicester obviously just had that extra quality. I want to highlight Vardy's goal. I think we mentioned at the start of the show, the way he dinked it over the keeper. What was the keeper doing? Do you see how far wide he was? When that ball was played over the top, the ball was always going to skid towards the bar line. If the keeper hadn't come out and just stayed on his line, there's no way Vardy's scoring from there.
No.
Not a chance. He's not even getting the ball down, cutting back inside and getting a shot off because 2 defenders were chasing back. These decisions made by, I say Darlow was one of them as well at times. They make that one poor decision and it costs the team a goal. And that cost them the game in my eyes. But there's some other good goals in there. Lookman's goal was well worked. The snow obviously played a little bit of havoc because I could hardly see the game at one point when I was watching the highlights. What the hell is going on? Where's the ball going? There was one shot which they were celebrating, and I was like, "Well, where's the ball gone?" you didn't even see the net ripple. I was like, "Oh, is it one of them?" It's just crazy. But Richard, Leicester, I mean, they're such an odd team this season. I had them for top 6 comfortably, potentially top 4, depending on West Ham. Didn't have Man United anywhere near it because they're shite. But they're aging, aren't they? And they're not replacing the defenders. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
and then Vardy's aging as well. And how are they going to place his goals?
It's crazy. I mean, like you said, Vardy, 34 years old, just seems to keep going forever. But they kind of want in the defense to do the same thing, and they can't seem to do it. If you're having to score 3 or 4 to win every game, it's no good for finishing in the top 6. So while it is a great game and it did, there were some cracking finishes and it was really entertaining. If you were Brendan Rodgers, you're looking at it and thinking, we can't. This is not sustainable. We need clean sheets. We need to be tighter at the back. And some of the things where some of the moves where Watford were getting through them, just far too easy. And Watford are decent when they get going, when they got momentum. They've got Sarr, they've got Dennis, but they're not amazing. I would be slightly concerned. Obviously, Leicester missing Tielemans, which is a big miss. But I know indeed he gave away the penalty, but
it was definitely a pen, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But great goals though, and I know Vardy's finishing is just unreal. Like the header off the corner, just something else.
Clever, wasn't it? How he came that far in front of the front post as well, and he knew if he just looped it to the far post, he's got a chance. And if it doesn't go in, there's going to be someone running in on it.
Exactly. And I know Harvey Barnes was involved in Lookman's goal, so maybe he's finding a bit of form. Madison as well. Got a goal and an assist. I mean, the goal he scored, you talk about mistakes. I mean, that defender just ducked out of the way thinking there's no one behind him. I honestly, you're just thinking like this poor defending, like look who's behind you, and you could see his look on his face. He's like, oh no. But
I mean, the keeper would give him a shout as well, wouldn't he? Just put your head on it, clear it. There's someone there. No one's talking to each other. And Ranieri would have been pulling his hair out at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to sort of tempt fate with Villa playing Man City tomorrow, but something that looks like has happened with Villa is that Gerrard has just said you've got to suffer through the game. You've got to be hard to beat. You've got to put your bodies on the line and get back to basics in defence. And looking at Leicester and Watford, there, it's like the goals that they conceded, they're just not doing the basics. They're kind of focusing on playing football as a defensive unit and passing the ball rather than actually defending. So to focus on actually defending, they might be better off because they've got the forward players. Both teams have got the forward players. Definitely. But Leicester, if they want to get anywhere near top 4, they've got to sort that out.
Yeah. I mean, Daniil makes a good point there that Vardy's aging like a fine wine. But like every fine wine, it's got to be drunk and finished at some point, hasn't it? So Vardy's coming to that age, isn't he?
Yeah.
What I found with Watford, which was quite interesting, was their backman in goal. And since, I don't know if Ben Foster's injured, but every time Backman seems to play, you can see his inexperience. And he was right. He should have given the defender a shout for the first goal. If you had Ben Foster in goal, I'm not saying he's a great goalkeeper, but he's got that experience. He's quite vocal. I think Watford really missed that at the back because defensively they were all over the place. You can tell they missed a vocal goalkeeper and a bit of a leader on the pitch there. And I mean, Backman's got a good bit of reputation where he came from Austria. But I mean, you're missing a goalkeeper like Ben Foster there, which I think coincides with why their defence was so shoddy on Sunday.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments just flying in here. Yeah, he's got a great footballing brain. Completely agree. James Madison was brilliant, and I'm right, Daniil. You just got to get drunk with fine wine. What's the point in keeping it in the cellar? It's like I mentioned about the stats. Is crazy. I mean, both teams off target, 18 and 17. Leicester with 8 on target, Watford 5 off target, and 50% of possession to 43. The thing that makes it a ding-dong affair is the passing accuracy was quite terrible, really. 69% for Leicester and 71% for Watford. But that could be down to the conditions because it was horrible, wasn't it? That snow really did take over at one point. We've got 2 more games, and we're getting near the end, and I want to talk about the table and Shearer's team of the week. So we'll jump onto Man City. doesn't look comfortable, but I think it was pretty comfortable, wasn't it, for City?
Yeah.
Gundogan with a tidy little finish after Mahrez did some great work. Fernandinho wrapped it up with a great little pass finish on the edge of the box. And Lanzini, you guys probably won't argue with me, were probably the goal of the weekend with that volley off the post. It was fantastic. Man City just looked like they were in second, third gear for the whole of the game. Put them away eventually, but then got a little bit of a fright. Richard, what did you make of the game? I mean, again, the snow was terrible.
Yeah, weather conditions terrible. Yeah, I think you've summed it up pretty well. I mean, it doesn't matter who Man City bring into the team; they play the same way. Really crisp passing, great goal by Gundogan in terms of a team goal, nice finish. West Ham, very, very, very good side, very, very well organised. Probably would have been waiting for that time to get to that 90th minute, or last 10 minutes or so to be still in the game, and they were. What Moyes would be so gutted about is that they did concede that goal in the 90th minute rather than them scoring that goal to make it 1-1, because at the moment that's pretty much all you can hope to be with Man City. All you can do is hope that you are 1-0 with 10-15 minutes to go, or 0-0 with 10-15 minutes to go, and you nick a goal, because if you score too early they just kill you. So I think Moyes will be very disappointed that they then got the consolation when they did, because
it was a great goal.
Yeah, it was a great goal, but he would have been hoping for that to, obviously the other way around. That goes without saying. But
definitely,
yeah, City just looking good. Just so the only thing with City is they do lose the odd game where you're like, how the hell did they lose that one?
Yeah.
Whereas,
Palace.
and you just think, like, where did they lose that from? Or they might go on like a couple of games where they'll draw and then they'll lose. But then they can easily go on like, just win 12-15 on the bounce. So I'm still kind of sticking with Chelsea at the moment, but City looking very dangerous at the moment, as well as Liverpool. Yeah,
you just wonder, like there was mentioned in the comments, that Aguero not being replaced is the thing that's going to cost them. But at the moment, it's not really, is it, Billy?
Well, he didn't play last season, really, did he? Let's be honest.
They play football in a way that doesn't require a striker.
Need a striker,
yeah.
Well, they're camping in the opposition's half most of the time, don't they? So 19 shots off target, 9 on target, 69% of possession, and 90% passing accuracy is just incredible, especially in that weather, and the dangerous passes that they play to each other inside the box and things like that. So that's incredible stats, and worthy winners. Like you said, West Ham went with our tactics of staying in the game for as long as possible and trying the
I wonder if he regrets that now. I mean, resting Bowen to bring Mazuaku in.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's the first time we took a backward step all season, really, Moyes. And they kind of cruised for the game, Man City, without De Bruyne, without Foden. Yeah, it was kind of easy
looking for that sucker puncher goal, weren't they? With, like Richard said, they were hoping to get it in the 90th minute, sneak a point, but it didn't quite happen for them. But West Ham are top 4 challenges in my eyes this season. To keep everyone fit, they're doing really well. That brings us to the last game. Chelsea 1, Man United 1. Sancho opening the scoring. That's 2-2 for him now after everyone's been slagging him off. And Jorginho making up for his mistake. So Sancho would never have scored, would he, if it wasn't for Jorginho's elephant touch on the halfway line, Joel?
No, I mean, did you hear what Thomas Tuchel said?
Yes, he was blinded
by the lights. That was the one. And I mean,
that
Chelsea,
was a street song, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Blinded by the lights.
But it's just you look at how they played, and I mean, there was the whole big furore of Manchester United getting in Ralph Ragnick now, and it was very much just it was Chelsea. It goes back to they need Lukaku. They're another team that, I mean, they spend so much money on attacking players, but they could not get the ball in the back of the net yesterday. Chelsea were a much better team. They pretty much controlled the game. I mean, Jorginho got blinded by a light, so he gave that one away. It was a good finish by Sancho.
Cool
it's been
finish.
Good to
Very
see
cool
him.
Finish.
Really good finish by him again. That's 2 in 2 games for him. So I mean, it's quite good to see that, more from an England point of view, for United point of view, because Man United. But I mean, it's good to see him with a bit of composure, and hopefully, maybe he can kick on under a new manager. And I mean, I know there was the big furore of Michael Carrick dropping Cristiano Ronaldo. Which, I mean, I kind of understand for a game like that, because if you are going to be up against it, you do need that counter-attacking threat, and that did work. And
yeah, it did.
You saw that of United from the goal. They were up quickly from the corner, a lot of pace. I mean, if Sancho missed that, I think Rashford would have gone mad because he was screaming for a goal. But I mean, it was pretty. Chelsea should have put that to bed, and that's 2 points drop there for them. And I mean, with Christmas running coming in, if you're a Chelsea fan, you're going, right, again, you've got everything sorted, but then they looking that toothless again. Werner had a couple of chances. I mean, his commitment to not scoring goals is incredible. I'm not going to strike the German Shane Long strikes again. But I mean, and that's the difference there. Chelsea just missing that focal point. They produced enough. They produced enough to score. But I mean, it's a good penalty from Jorginho as well. His penalty taking is phenomenal in the Premier League. He just, if Chelsea get a penalty,
hop and skip and jump thing before he kicks it.
I mean, it looks completely ridiculous, but it works.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it worse if it's against your team, because you're seeing him sort of jumping around like a spring lamb, and then he does that. But yeah, no, I thought it was a decent game. Chelsea seemed to they dominated it. United didn't offer a lot. I mean, if you're Ralph Ragnarik coming in, you're looking at, okay, I've got attackers to work with. I've got an attacking threat. It's just that defense needs shoring up. Definitely.
And Rudiger should have won it for Chelsea at the end when he blazed it over the bar. That was terrible. But the stats don't lie as well. I mean, like you mentioned, Chelsea should have really won it. 24 shots off target, very wasteful. 6 on target and 66% of possession. Man United, 3 shots off target, 2 on target. That's not Man United, is it?
No.
You just don't expect to see that. But
he got a bit of they did defend quite well, and I thought Fred and McTominay were outstanding.
But it's Man United.
It takes a lot for me to say that, because I think they're both shit, but they both had really good games. And I think Boy had a good game as well. But I mean, Wan-Bissaka again. So how naive is that? You can't keep saying that week in, week out. He makes a mistake week in, week out.
He does.
Tom sat him on the bench and got someone else in, I'm afraid.
Yeah, definitely.
But they've only got Diogo Dalot as a right back replacement, and he's been proven that he can't play in the Premier League. I think he was loaned out last season. I think it was at Inter Milan. So I mean, and ironically, he won a title more than United have done. But it's the Wan-Bissaka, his form's gone off a cliff, and it has been for about a year. It's not just been instantaneous. It's been over the course of a year. His form, he doesn't look confident defending. He doesn't have the confidence to go forward, and he's quite out of position quite easily. I mean, I completely agree. Wan-Bissaka, his form's all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of Palace fans think they've stolen.
And Mendy almost gave it away last game, didn't he? I mean, the goalkeeper. What was he doing?
Oh yeah, that was a terrible pass out, wasn't it?
That was worse, mind.
And the finish was terrible. All right, let's look at the league table. It says the top of the table. Man United now dropped down to 8th. West Ham is still holding on to that 4th spot, where Arsenal move into 5th and joint 4th, which is incredible considering how they started, and everyone was calling for Mikel Arteta's neck. Wolves started poorly, and they're now up to 6th, and Tottenham were obviously a bit on, off, and now they're 7th. So, and Brighton down to 9th, and Leicester in. Yeah, definitely. Chelsea still top by a point, but it's anyone's game at the top between them 3, isn't it? Bottom of the table, look away, Newcastle fans, Norwich fans, and Burnley's fans, because we look absolutely shocking at the moment. Brentford now jumped to 12th, though, which is incredible. Villa jumped up to 13th, so they're pushing out of it. But Everton, Southampton, and Watford all dropping down with Leeds. And now Newcastle, Norwich, and Burnley are looking at them 4, thinking we can reel these in if they don't get the players back quick enough and they don't get points on the board. So we're going to reel them in.
Fucking hell, it took us about 6 years, all right.
I'm telling you, we're reeling them in. Right, Shearer's team of the week. So you've got Ramsdale in goal. Lamptey, great to see him back for Brighton. I would love to see him in a Newcastle shirt. I know it'll never happen, but it's worth a try. Van Dijk, Thiago Silva probably didn't really have too much to do with the amount of possession that Chelsea had. Robinson, class again. Maddison, McGinn, and I can't pronounce that person's name. Nakamba. There we go. Yeah. Saka, Vardy, and Jota. Any changes, guys, would you make to that team?
Yeah, I wouldn't have Thiago Silva in there because, as you say, he had piss all to do.
Yeah, I would have picked a defender that actually did some work.
Yeah, rather than one. Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Thiago Silva's
Yeah.
probably the only one that I'd probably disagree with.
Mm.
I mean, to be fair, you could have had both. I mean, Van Dijk, he scored, but I mean, both of Liverpool's defenders didn't really have anything much to do, to be quite honest.
Yeah, he may be argument. I know there's 2 Villa players in there. There's maybe an argument for Matt Targett, who scored left back. But,
Robertson was brilliant for Liverpool, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. It was class. It was class.
Yeah, tore us apart.
Yeah.
How was Ramsdale? Ramsdale did well, didn't he? He must have had a real big day Saturday.
Yeah. She was done well with that one.
I've got to say.
Yeah, he's done well, Ramsdale. He loves one for the cameras, doesn't he?
I think the best thing is keeper the minute.
Yeah, arguably, because Pickford's form's gone off a cliff, and I mean Ramsdale probably is. I mean, the one position that actually England lack is goalkeepers, really, if you think about it. I mean, Ramsdale's got a chance. Dean Henderson doesn't play. I mean, he's one that Newcastle, if they should look at.
Yeah. Well, he is on our list, apparently. We'll have to see what happens. But the rumour mill will have some more rumours on Monday. Right, we've only got 2 games to talk about very, very quickly before we go tonight. So we're going to make some predictions. Richard, Newcastle, Norwich score.
I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle.
Wow, clean sheet, first one in a long time.
Yeah.
Billy?
3-2 Newcastle.
Oh, what a game.
Joel?
I'm going 2-1 Newcastle. I think being at home will be enough to help push over the line.
I think so. I went 3-2 as well, to be fair, Billy. So I do fancy a ding-dong affair because we just can't defend. The other game, which is going to be an interesting one, is obviously our good friend Steve is in Leeds, knocking everyone out according to his tweets. I think he's chinned half the population in Leeds. So Leeds v Palace. Richard, who are you going for?
I'm going to say a 2-2 draw.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Billy?
2-0 Palace.
Ooh.
Joel?
Oh, I'm going 1-1. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game at all.
But I think Palace will have probably most of the possession because they do like to pass it around the back, don't they? Which is where they have most of it. Annie's just been a knob as usual, 2-1 to Norwich. I either fancy a 1-1 or a 1-0 Palace. I think it will be a tight game. I think you're right. But I think Palace might nick it, but they don't score enough goals to put it out with bed, do they? So there's that risk of the 1-1. So either 1-0 or 1-1. I think that's a fair scoreline. Richard, you're back tomorrow, is that right, with a watch-along?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'll be posting it later. Yeah, so I'll be back.
Amazing. Can't wait for that. I will be live again in literally 12 minutes. I'm sure Richard would love your support if he can't find anyone else to come on with him. I'm sure you prefer to have his son on.
I'll go through the phone book. Yeah,
get that black book out, mate. And
Zachariah, please come on.
I'm going to the Saints game tomorrow, so there's Saints Leicester under the lights. It can't be as bad as last time, so hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, I'll be 8-1 this time.
Oh, you know what? If we score a goal, I'll be over the moon.
It's the Merseyside derby tomorrow as well. I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
it is. Yes.
Yeah, Everton Liverpool. If I was an Everton fan, I'll be hiding behind the sofa watching that one.
Yeah, I would
not be watching.
Do you fancy vlogging the game for us, Joel?
Pardon?
Do you fancy vlogging the game for us, Joel?
Yeah, I could do a vlog from the game, definitely. Definitely.
Oh man, the camera's gone off. As soon as the little it comes.
Oh, bless.
Hey.
Hello.
Say hello. Hello. Say hello,
buddy.
Hi, Jacob.
You can talk properly. Come on. Put his top down. No one can see his top. That's why I'm lifting him up. They only see his head. Oh, there goes the camera.
I don't see anything now.
Yeah, I can vlog the game tomorrow. There he is.
Yeah, right. Roll far up the tree there, has it?
I know. I feel sorry for him. Right, go on. You go get your milk and bath time. Right. So you vlog the game, man. That'd be great if you could do that.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll get on that tomorrow. That'd be great.
Good little show. We'll sort it out somehow. Barry Jr. Yes, that was Barry Jr. I named him after Bobby Robson. I tried to get him as his first name. The missus wouldn't have it. So it's Jacob Bobby Thomas. But I tried my best. So, guys, I'll be back in 10 minutes for the live watch along. So please join us for alternative commentary. Billy is going to be on that as well. Richard and Joel, pleasure having you on again as always.
Oh, no, thank you.
Look forward to Richard's watch along tomorrow, because I will be doing a space talk while watching the game and watching you at the same time. So that'll be fun.
Hey, 3 things at once. I
know. Hey.
Exactly, Billy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Destroying that myth.
Exactly. Everyone, get watching the game and get me on for alternative commentary. It's going to be a good laugh. That's been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. I hope all the people in the background and who've been watching, thank you for watching and subscribe if you haven't. Share, like, all that kind of stuff. We're on our way to 4,000 watched hours. We're only 393 hours away, I think. So we're almost there. We're getting there. Big jump after yesterday. And let's hope it continues tonight and tomorrow. So thank you, everyone. And see you in 9 minutes.
Thank you. Take care.
See you in a couple of minutes.